The diamond on Olivia's engagement ring caught the boutique's recessed lighting as her hand connected with my cheek. The sound, a sharp crack, silenced the entire bridal salon. A heartbeat earlier, I'd been adjusting the cathedral-length veil she'd insisted on, despite its $3,400 price tag. Now my skin burned where metal had met flesh, and 20 pairs of eyes stared in stunned silence. "Get out," she hissed, voice low but perfectly audible in the hushed room. "You're embarrassing me in front of everyone." My fingertips traced the welt forming beneath my eye where her 2-carat princess cut had left its mark. The same ring I'd helped her fiancé select when his credit application was mysteriously denied. The receipt for its $18,000 deposit still buried in my email. Around us, women in various states of discomfort, Olivia's college friends, our cousins, the boutique staff, suddenly found fascinating details to examine in dress beadwork and hemlines. Only our mother met my gaze directly, her expression not of concern but warning, "Don't make this worse." The burning humiliation climbing my throat gave way to something colder, more focused. While Olivia smoothed her hands over the crystal-encrusted bodice of her couture gown, I felt the weight of my phone in my pocket. The banking app that would show $42,875 already charged to my platinum card for this wedding. The card still sitting in Olivia's Prada clutch on the champagne table. I straightened my shoulders, blinked away the threat of tears, and walked toward the exit without a word. As the boutique door closed behind me, my trembling fingers had already unlocked my screen, banking app open, cursor hovering over cancel card. "My name is Victoria, I'm 31 and a hospital finance director. This is the story of how I stopped bankrolling someone else's fantasy and started investing in my own reality." The boutique's glass facade gave me a perfect view of what happened next. 3 taps on my screen and the message appeared instantly, "Card cancelled successfully." The weight of 6 months of financial servitude lifted from my shoulders as I took a screenshot of the confirmation. Inside, Olivia remained on her pedestal, twirling in her princess ball gown as our mother dabbed at imaginary tears. The saleswoman approached with her tablet, ready to process the day's purchases: the gown, the veil, the crystal headpiece, the custom-dyed shoes. The $17,000 transaction that would have brought my total wedding contribution to nearly $60,000, more than my annual take-home salary after taxes. Olivia handed over my card with the casual entitlement of someone who'd never worried about money. Specifically, someone who'd never worried about my money. I watched the saleswoman swipe once, then again, her professional smile faltering as she leaned closer to her screen. She whispered something to Olivia, whose expression transformed from confusion to disbelief. "What do you mean declined?" Her voice carried even through the glass. "That's impossible. Try it again." The saleswoman shook her head, pointing at her tablet. The boutique manager materialized at her side, his expression shifting from deferential to coldly professional as he extended his hand for the gown Olivia still clutched. I should have felt guilty watching my sister's perfect makeup unable to mask her rising panic. Instead, I felt something unfamiliar, a lightness in my chest, like taking a full breath after years underwater. I walked away as my phone began vibrating with incoming calls. "Mother." "Olivia." "Mother again." I silenced them all as I boarded the bus home, the screenshot of my cancelled card glowing on my screen like a declaration of independence. 20 minutes later, I unlocked the door to my modest apartment, the one I'd postponed buying because Olivia's wedding had consumed my down payment savings. For once, I wouldn't be the family fixer, the reliable one, the human ATM they'd all taken for granted. Growing up as the older sister, I'd watched Olivia receive every advantage. While she attended private university on our parents' dime, I worked nights at the hospital to pay my tuition. When she launched 3 failed fashion boutiques after graduation, they covered her losses. When I earned my master's in healthcare finance with honors, they skipped the ceremony for Olivia's gallery opening. Yet somehow, when Olivia got engaged to Ryan, a hedge fund manager with family connections but temporary liquidity issues, I was the one expected to help out. What began as a small loan for their engagement party morphed into a bottomless pit of wedding expenses. "It's just until Ryan's quarterly bonus comes through," Olivia had promised 4 months ago, eyes wide with practiced sincerity as she swiped my card for the venue deposit. "Besides, you're not using that money for anything important." The unimportant thing was the down payment on my own home. A dream deferred while I kept funding hers. By morning, my phone displayed 31 missed calls and 22 text messages, each more desperate than the last. 10:17 a.m. Mom, the boutique called. "What did you do to the card?" 10:24 a.m. Olivia, fix this now. 11:02 a.m. Mom, Olivia is devastated. How could you embarrass us like this? 11:46 a.m. Olivia, the venue is threatening to cancel. This isn't funny anymore. 12:22 p.m. Mom, your father is furious. Call us immediately. 10:15 p.m. Olivia, Ryan's parents are asking questions. You ruining my life. The final message had arrived at 3:42 a.m. If you don't fix this by tomorrow, don't bother coming to the wedding. I laughed out loud at that one. Without my money, there wouldn't be a wedding. As if on cue, my phone lit up with an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Is this Victoria Kelly? A man's voice, professional but strained. Yes. Who's calling? This is Jackson from Westbrook Manor. We are trying to reach Olivia Kelly regarding her outstanding balance of $32,450 due today. Her number goes straight to voicemail, and she listed you as an alternate contact. I closed my eyes, picturing the magnificent ballroom Olivia had selected after rejecting 5 others as too ordinary. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, capacity for 350 guests she'd insisted were absolutely necessary. I'm sorry, Jackson. I'm no longer involved with my sister's wedding finances. His tone shifted slightly. I see. Well, if you speak with her, please let her know that without today's scheduled payment, we'll be forced to release the date to another client. We have 4 couples on our waiting list. I'll pass that along. After hanging up, I blocked my parents' and Olivia's numbers, then powered off my phone completely. For the first time in years, I spent the day focused entirely on myself. I walked through the botanical gardens I'd always wanted to visit, treated myself to lunch at a restaurant I'd always considered too expensive. The irony wasn't lost on me. When I finally turned my phone back on that evening, there was a voicemail from a number I recognized. Ryan, Olivia's fiancé. Victoria, it's Ryan. Look, things are completely chaotic over here. Olivia says you cancelled some card and now everything's falling apart. I don't understand what's happening. My parents are asking questions I can't answer. Can you call me back, please? His confusion sounded genuine. I typed out a text rather than calling. Ryan, Olivia told everyone your family was covering wedding costs. In reality, I've been paying for everything on my credit cards, $42,875 so far. She slapped me in public yesterday, so I cancelled the cards. I'm done being her secret bank account. He responded almost immediately. Wait, what? She told us your parents were paying. The dominoes were falling faster than I'd anticipated. By morning, the situation had exploded beyond Olivia's ability to contain it. Ryan's parents, old money with connections throughout the city, had discovered the financial house of cards. After questioning their son about my text message and contacting the venue directly, my phone buzzed with a message from a cousin who was part of Olivia's bridal party. OMG, what happened? Ryan's mom is telling everyone Olivia lied about who was paying for the wedding. His grandmother just cancelled the rehearsal dinner at the club. I didn't need to respond. The truth was doing all the work for me. 3 days after the boutique incident, Ryan's mother called me directly. Her voice was perfectly controlled, aristocratic. Victoria, this is Eleanor Blackwell. I'd like to understand exactly what's been happening with my son's wedding finances. I told her everything, the months of payments, the empty promises, the public slap that had finally pushed me to stop. She listened without interrupting. I see, she said when I finished. Thank you for your candor. The Blackwells value honesty above all else. It seems my future daughter-in-law does not share that value. The following day, Ryan called. His voice was hollow. The wedding's off. My parents spoke with Olivia this morning. He paused, searching for words. They said they couldn't welcome someone into our family who would build a marriage on a foundation of lies. I said nothing. There was nothing to say. Was she always like this? He asked finally. Did I miss something I should have seen? She's always been the family princess, I answered. And someone has always paid the price for her crown. We are officially broken up, Ryan added after a moment. I returned her ring yesterday. My quarterly bonus came through last week, but it was nowhere near enough to cover all these expenses. I had no idea what she'd committed us to. 2 weeks later, the doorbell rang at my apartment. I opened it to find Olivia standing there, mascara streaked down her cheeks, looking smaller somehow without her designer labels and perfect blowout. Can I come in? Her voice lacked its usual imperious edge. I stepped aside, allowing her into the space she'd once called depressingly modest. Ryan's family told everyone, she said, collapsing onto my couch. They're saying I'm a liar and a fraud. His mother called the country club and cancelled our membership application. Dad's golf friends are all talking about it. That's unfortunate, I replied, remaining standing. This is all your fault, she said, but the accusation lacked conviction. If you hadn't been so dramatic about one little slap. One little slap. I felt my voice rising despite my determination to stay calm. You humiliated me in public after taking nearly $50,000 from me. Money I worked 80-hour weeks to earn. Money for my future. I was going to pay you back. She protested. With what, Olivia? Your failed boutiques? The trust fund Mom and Dad don't actually have? Ryan's bonus that wouldn't cover half the venue deposit. She fell silent, tears streaming down her face. The worst part, I continued, my voice steady now, is that I would have helped you if you'd just been honest. If you'd asked for what you could afford instead of demanding a wedding that cost more than my annual salary. If you'd treated me like a sister instead of an ADM. I didn't think of it like that, she whispered. I know. That's exactly the problem. The day that should have been Olivia's wedding dawned bright and clear. Instead of a ceremony, the Blackwell family announced a substantial donation to a medical research foundation in what society columns delicately called a change of plans for the previously announced union. Olivia had moved back to our parents' house, rarely leaving her room. My mother's texts, now coming from new numbers I hadn't blocked, oscillated between rage and desperate pleas. She's devastated. Her life is ruined. How could you do this to your own sister? Then hours later, please Victoria, we need your help. Your father's retirement isn't enough. We can't support her alone. I didn't respond to either. 6 weeks after what we now called the boutique incident, I signed the lease on my new apartment, the one I delayed for Olivia's wedding. As I unpacked boxes in a space that was finally mine, my phone buzzed with a text from an unsaved number. It's Ryan. I wanted to thank you, not for what happened with Olivia, that's still complicated, but for showing me the truth before I made a permanent mistake. I hope you're doing well. I smiled as I set my phone down without responding. Despite having changed my number after blocking my family, I wasn't surprised Ryan had found a way to reach me. His family's connections in the city made finding a hospital finance director's contact information straightforward. On my coffee table sat a stack of brochures, executive MBA programs I'd been interested in for years but had shelved while funding someone else's dreams. That evening, I stood on my balcony overlooking the city park, watching families stroll below as dusk painted the sky in shades of possibility. My sister had lost a fiancé, a wedding, and her carefully cultivated image. My parents had lost their favorite daughter's fairy tale ending. Olivia was left responsible for the remaining vendor balances she'd accrued, though I suspected our parents would eventually bail her out, as they always had. And me? I'd gained something I hadn't fully realized was missing, my own life, reclaimed one cancelled credit card at a time. Sometimes standing up for yourself doesn't require grand gestures or elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's as simple as stopping the payments, stopping the sacrifice, stopping the pattern that keeps you small while making others feel big. The consequences? Those belong to them.